Ace back with another review, and today we're going to be looking at the Great Mazinger model kit from Bandai. It was actually a pretty cool kit. It's very simple to build. There was literally, I didn't find anything in there which was complicated or something that I didn't understand. It's very easy to build, and again, there weren't exactly that many parts as well. I would probably say there's a little bit less parts as compared to a normal high-grade Gundam. So overall, it was a very easy kit to build, and in the end, I think the final product does look pretty good. The kit itself doesn't have too many colors, but it is very true to the actual anime character. So you've got your black, you've got your white, you've got your dark blue, and of course you've got the red and the little bit of yellow over here for the horns. Apart from that, you don't really get any much more color. So, but which is perfectly fine, it's part of the actual character. This is what it looks like in the anime, so all good for it. The problem that you'll face with that is that if you ever do decide to actually paint this yourself, then you're not really going to have that much to paint. We are talking about, the blue parts over here, the white, the blue, and the red, with a little bit of yellow. That's about it. All the black parts that you see are actually rubber. So, and I wouldn't really advise painting rubber because it just kind of flakes off and it doesn't really fit well. So you can't paint these black parts. Even the feet, by the way, I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but the bottom part is rubber and the top part is PVC plastic. So this is kind of cool because it gives you a lot of grip when you put it on the tabletop. But in terms of painting, again, you can't really touch that. So if you do want to make this look really good, you may have to do a little bit of artistry, I guess, and you're gonna have to do a little bit of painting yourself, kind of change things around a little bit. I don't know, maybe like, for example, take this part and make it blue, and this part you can make it black. I don't know. You're gonna have to play around a little bit. You just stick to the original colors. It's not going to be that different. Now, in terms of articulation, the kit isn't that good. The joints are something very different. I mean, okay, fine. When you're looking at the hip joints for the legs, when you're looking at the shoulder joints for the arms, they're pretty much your standard. You've got the socket in there and you stick a peg in there. Pretty standard, no problem whatsoever. The elbows and the knees are something very different. They've got a really weird mechanism where they put some parts together and then they kind of cover it up, and that gives you the movement or the joint itself. The articulation itself isn't that much. I mean, if we're talking about the actual arm, we're only going to get 90 degrees. The same thing for the legs. You're not going to get more than that. So there isn't much articulation in the main joints. The hands are actually rubber itself, so you can't really do any painting, and it's got a really big ball joint, and it just plugs into the hole. So it does move around all over the place, it does wiggle, and it's a very solid joint, so you're not going to get that much of freedom when you do it around. So that's not too much of an issue. The shoulders, they do go all 360. You just have to be a little bit careful of the V-fin there, and of course, if the back wing wasn't there, then it'd go all the way around. So that's perfectly fine. The hip joints, again, they go about, to be just a little bit careful of the joints, they go about that far. So again, less than 90 degrees if you compare it to this leg over here. So not too much there. Even front and back, you're not going to get much movement. That's about it. So, in terms of the main joints, you don't get too much of articulation. The head's pretty cool though. I mean, it does go back, it does go forward, and it does swivel all around, and it does turn 360. That's no issue. It's basically a small ball over there which kind of plugs into the head. So again, you don't have a double ball joint system for the neck. You've got a single one, but it does move around pretty well, especially if you compare it to the other joints. The wings themselves, there's no movement there. They're just static. They just plug into the back over there, and that's about it. In terms of accessories, this guy doesn't come with a whole bunch of much. Basically, what you're gonna get are two swords. And they're both exactly the same. They are white, and they're not going to be doing too much, so this is pretty much it. But they look pretty cool. I mean, if you put them in the hands, and if you get a chance to paint them up a little bit, which is pretty easy, they're not going to look that bad. You do get quite a few hands, by the way. So they're all rubber. They're all exactly the same. They're pretty detailed, so if you want to touch up a little bit of lining or something like that, you can. And they've all got these huge ball joints. These plug into the main arms themselves. So you basically get two open hands. You get two shut hands, which are fists, and you get one pointy finger. Apart from this, the only other thing you get is this. Now, the Mazinger punch, this is what it is. So you actually build the mechanism. Actually, let me show you. It's actually a pretty nifty way thing that they've done. So underneath that forearm piece, you get this, which you built, and it's very easy. It's, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces, and that's it. The actual hand itself plugs in, and then when you pull back on this, it fires. Very cool. I actually like the fact that you can do that. And it plugs into the arms. This is my only major gripe with this kit. The problem is that, okay, forget the articulation, you can live with that. But the problem is that these elbows plug into this arm piece here. And this is a very loose joint. That's all we're talking about there. They've got a hole in there which goes in, and it's over here. So they're pretty much on there with just a little bit of friction. That's my only problem with this kit, that the main joints over here and the arms, they fall off very, very easily. Otherwise, to change this to the other punching arm, it's very simple. It's almost exactly the same thing, and it just plugs in there. And same thing with the arms and the hands. You can just take out the hands and plug in the different hand, whichever one you want to. And that's pretty much it. The kit itself, I actually like it. It's a very old kit, 2001. So this is why you're not going to find a whole bunch of amazing details and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, it's Mazinger. You got to have a Mazinger in your collection, don't you? Now, what I also wanted to do was a size comparison. What I have in my collection, luckily, is the actual soul of Chogokin. Chogokin. I have the actual soul of Chogokin Mazinger Z, which is absolutely fantastic. You're talking die-cast metal, you're talking a whole bunch of things. Now this guy, you can see there's a huge difference when it comes to the looks of it, the feel of the character, the amount of detail and definition that this guy has in comparison to the model kit. Obviously, you pay a hell of a lot more for this anyway, but in terms of size, you can see it's pretty close. I mean, we're talking literally maybe 2 or 3 centimeters difference in terms of height. But this one obviously has the bulk, has got the character, it's got the silver for the metallic, you know, it's all got the metal pieces in there. It looks really cool. This guy still looks good. I've got nothing against this guy. This guy still looks good, but he's a very good comparison to this guy. In addition to that, just to give you an idea of what he would be in terms of most of the kits that people have, here he is next to the Shining Gundam, which is the high grade, and here he is next to Gundam Sandrock, which is a good comparison in terms of high grade, master grade, and this guy. I don't know what size he is. I don't think he has one, but this kind of shows you. So if you compare him to a master grade, he's the same height if you look at it tip to tip, as compared to the newer master grades that we're getting out there. Maybe just a little bit smaller, but that's about it. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I'm going to start painting this guy, and hopefully I'll come back with a customized video, see what he looks when he's finally done. See you guys soon.